Hey there. Welcome to New Student Orientation at the Technical College of the Low Country. My name is Mark Myers and I work in the Office of Admissions.
And I'm Danielle Consider. I'm the Hub Director. And we hope that you guys learn something new about TCL today.
So to get started, I'll kind of be leading the first half of this orientation, and later on, Danielle's going to take over. This New Student Orientation is for students entering in the fall of 2020 and covers all students that are Beaufort, New River, Hampton, and online campuses. To outline the program for you today, we've got check-in, which is just kind of Danielle and I introducing ourselves, and that's kind of where we get into introductions too. I'm going to go through student supports and services with you. Danielle and I will both touch on the calendar a little bit. I'll share the story of TCL, and then Danielle's going to cover COVID updates, registration, payment, and then some essentials. And at the end, we're going to give you our contact information for any questions you may have at the end of this. To get started, I'd like to start Student Support Services, which is a grant-funded program on our Beaufort campus and serves students at all of our campuses. Student Support Services is a Department of Education funded program that provides additional layers of support to our students. One of their cornerstone programs is their TRIO program, which is a program that will pair students with a mentor, financial resources, financial aid help, and assistance with students that may want to transfer at the end of their 2 years with TCL. In addition to that, TRIO will provide students with a cohort of students that will be with them during their time at our institution. TRIO is for students that fall into one of these categories: students with a disability, students of color, students that are first generation, or students from a low-income background. If you have questions about TRIO, please reach out to Carlette Jones at cjones@tcl.edu. To go on from there, I'd like to touch on student services for you. So I'm going to head over to our homepage. I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second, reshare. There you go. So over here, under Student Services, there's a lot of different things available for you. I'm going to walk you through mainly this middle column here, and a little bit over here, and a little bit over here. To start is the Testing Center. Many of you who have come to TCL previously prior to COVID may have been to our Testing Center in building number 2 for the Accuplacer exam. Other students may use this center at different points of their time with TCL. Largely our health sciences students who may take an exam there, are students that are in any other program that we have. When you visit the testing center, you must present a valid photo ID. Leave your food and drinks at home. Your cell phones are going to be turned off and kept in a locker outside of the testing center. Children cannot be accompanying you to your test, and you must be able to have enough time to complete your test. And if you have a documented disability and need any special accommodations for placement testing, please contact the Associate Vice President of Student Affairs at 843-525-8219. You can also contact him directly at radams at tcl at radams@tcl.edu. Moving on from there, we've got the bookstore. The bookstore's website is very easy to use. To go and look for a course, you're going to go through textbook search. I always put in Psych 201. I know what materials they have. Right there. Go down here and view our materials. And you'll see here that Psychology's access code right here is a required text and e-code. Down here you'll see there's recommended and study aids as well for this program. These are not required for your class but are highly suggested, hence they are on here. However, this access code up here is required. For access codes like that, the bookstore will provide those to you. If you have any further questions, you're able to contact them. Their website also has opportunities for online buyback, their rental agreement, and different models they have. You're also able to get cool TCL merchandise from their website, and you can also look through any kits or other things you may need for class. I'm going to head back over to our home page. I'm going to hover right here over Student Services, and I'm going to head down here to the library. Our library on our Beaufort campus is housed in building number 12. On our New River campus, it's located right through the front doors to the left and is housed with our hub. And on our Hampton campus, you'll find that right inside the main entrance. In our library, on our website, we have MLA, APA, and Chicago citation sources. You also can get tech support from this website, including assistance with Blackboard, email, self-service, and any other Microsoft Office features. You also can email support@tcl.edu for any other help you need there. Up here you'll find different databases that can assist you, especially in writing reports or looking up different facts or figures for a course. You can also look for ebooks right up here. I'm going to head over to the Tutoring Center, which on our Beaufort campus is housed in building number 9 with our math and writing labs. On our New River campus, you'll find the reading lab within the Learning Center, which includes the hub in the library, and the math tutoring is right up the hall. Down here, though, tutoring is always available online for you too, before and after COVID, and you're able to schedule a time for accounting, biology, computer and office tech, math, Spanish, and writing and reading. Writing and reading will always require an appointment, whether or not you're in person or online. However, if you want online tutoring, you always need to schedule an appointment for any of these departments in any of these subjects. You also are able to submit a paper through paper review. And if you do want to meet with a writing tutor, you can submit this prior to meeting with your tutor. Put in your information right here. That'll be sent over to the tutor that you're going to be working with. Additionally, you have access to 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year tutoring through TutorMe, an online tutoring service that is available to you through the Blackboard platform. As soon as your Blackboard is created, you're able to get on here and get tutoring in any subject that you need help with at no additional charge to you, and it's available to all students. You will not be paired with a TCL tutor, however. Instead, you'll be with one that is contracted out through the company. Moving on to counseling. Down here you'll find the information for Candida Wilshire, our campus counselor. Her number's here as well, and her email is right up here. I would recommend reaching her by email at this time. She's able to schedule appointments with students through a HIPAA-compliant line. She's very flexible in her meeting times and stuff of that nature, and also when we are back in person, she can meet at any of our campuses. There is no copay or insurance obligation or anything of that nature to receive counseling for you at TCL. And down here you'll find different resources that Candida and other campus entities have kind of included to help students out. And I'm going to head over here to Student Records, Danielle's former home. And down here you'll find their live chat option, but also enrollment verification. So sometimes an employer or somebody else may need enrollment verification. That is all done through the Office of Student Records. And should you ever choose to transfer at the end of your time with TCL, your official transcript can also be ordered through here. Down here you will notice that there's transferring tools. So if you're going to transfer to TCL, you can see what equivalencies look like. And down below, you'll see what our class is like when you transfer out of TCL. And our last service I'm going to show y'all is our disability services. And to scroll right down here to the bottom to Rodney Adams' email, who's the gentleman you'll contact if you've ever been diagnosed with a learning disability or have a physical disability that could impact your experience with TCL. You can reach out to Rodney, and he can kind of get you set up with accommodations to help your time at TCL go as smoothly as possible. And then beyond that, I think that sums up student services. I'm going to unshare really quick and hop back over into the presentation. One second. And then down here, let me just zoom it out a bit. I'm going to quickly share the story of TCL. As I get started with this, I'd like to note that on our Beaufort campus, which is now known as our Mather campus in building number 1, you're able to get a little bit more of an in-depth story of TCL with artifacts and different things you can interact with. So that building is open when we are back in session through normal business hours. I think it's Tuesday through Friday, but they do vary per semester sometimes, so be sure to check those out. But TCL was founded in 1868 by a woman named Mrs. Rachel Crane Mather, who came down at the conclusion of the American Civil War. to create a school for the daughters of liberated slaves. Mrs. Mather was a woman that believed that everyone has a chance to get a good education, which is why she kind of came down here. She began to raise funds and erected the first women's dormitory in 1901 and graduated its first class from elementary school. In 1932, the Mather School High School program was approved by the South Carolina Department of Education as Mather Industrial School. And by 1954, the school increased educational opportunities by adding a junior college department, allowing male students. More sustained growth support kind of continued through then, and they received their accreditation through the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools in 1956. And 1 year later, Mather Junior College graduated its first class. 100 years after the Mather School was designated by the Office of Economic Opportunity for a pilot program to assist high school graduates in the Low Country to overcome certain academic differentiations between before entering college. A merger happened soon after, and the school, at the end of the day, became the Technical College of the Low Country in 1988. And since its founding in 1868, the school has remained very consistent to its motto, which is the belief that all people deserve a chance to further their education. The original institution was actually old Civil War barracks that were floated down the Beaufort River and hoisted up onto our Beaufort campus, our Mather campus now, right in the parking lot next to building number 1. But on that note, I'm going to hand it over to Danielle.
Thanks, Mark. That was really good. Okay, so there's a few things that I want to cover in regards to what you see when you look at our calendars and the different dates and deadlines and things that are important to you as a student at TCL. So we just have a snapshot here of what the fall 2020 semester looks like. So if you look down, you can see that the last day of registration was August 20th for the fall. And then we also have, of course, classes beginning August 24th. And the dates below that are actually where I wanted to show you a little bit more about what those dates mean, what you can do during this time, and then some future dates as well to look at. So underneath where classes begin, and this is going to be the same for any of the terms, so you can apply these rules to the fall 1, fall 2, and fall 3 deadlines. So if you're not yet registered for classes, of course, these principles still apply to each of these terms. So the section swap and drop, what that means is during that section of time, so those particular dates for the respective term, you have the ability to swap your course for a different section. So essentially, let's say you're in an English 101 class and you'd like to be in a different English 101 course with just a different instructor. What you can do during that period of time, so only during the dates or for the dates listed there, what you'll do is you'll send an email to the dean of that school. So for English, it would be the Dean of Arts and Sciences. You would send an email to the dean and you would include your name, student ID, the section number that you're in. So let's say it's English 101, section 1. And then in your email, you would include that you want to be swapped to English 101, perhaps section 2. And then the dean would then update your account. And then next time you log in, you would see that different section listed on your schedule. And I'm going to explain a little bit about how you can read your schedule in a little bit. But just know that those dates that you see for each term in the fall semester would be those particular dates that you have the time that you can take to actually swap your course out. Now, this also means that during this time, you can also simply drop a course. And I'm going to explain a little bit what it means to drop a class and what it means to withdraw from a course. So let's say the semester has begun and you look over the amount of work that you have to do and you think you may want to take this class in the spring instead. This might not be the best time for you to take, a course with such a heavy load. So what you'll do is you only have during those dates listed there. So for example, if you are in a full fall semester course, you only have from August 24th through the 28th to decide that you want to drop this course. Anything after the 28th would be considered a withdrawal. And the difference between a drop and a withdrawal is the biggest reason would be a financial, basically the financial aspect of it. If you drop a course, you're not responsible for any of the tuition, only the fees associated with the course. If you withdraw from a course, you are responsible for a portion or all of the tuition for that class. It just depends on what date you actually are withdrawn from the course, and that determines how much you're actually responsible for. All of this information can be found in the registration guide, and you can look, you can actually find that on our website if you just search registration guide. But there's actually a chart in there that will explain at what date you have in order to be either considered withdrawn with 50% refund or 0%, or you're responsible for the full cost of the class. So again, during the swap and drop period, those are the dates that you're allowed to drop the course without penalty as far as the tuition is concerned. So you're not responsible for the tuition. In order to do that, you would simply email the instructor of that course and say, I'd like to drop this class. And then the instructor would process it on their end, and then that was it. You would only be responsible for the fees. Now, if you, after the swap and drop period, decide that you can't manage the course, or you just feel like it'd be better for you to put it off, you then would also still email the instructor, and the instructor would still process the withdrawal. But then again, at that point, you would be responsible for at least 50% or full cost of the tuition, depending on the date that you request that. So those are just some dates and deadlines I wanted to explain in regards to the schedule. If you do decide that you want to drop or withdraw a course and you are using financial aid, I would definitely reach out to the financial aid office prior to sending the email to the instructor to see how this would affect your financial aid. Some students don't realize how much it affects your financial aid if you're registered full-time and then you drop to part-time. So definitely reach out if you have any questions about how that might affect your financial aid. Now, if you are still looking to register for a future term, but maybe the class is full, for certain classes at TCL, we do offer wait lists. So what that means is, let's say there's 24 seats in the class. We actually have 5 extra seats available on a wait list. So what that means is if you are added to a wait list, if you add yourself to a wait list, that means that the class is full. But if a seat opens up and you're the next person to get a spot in the class, you'll actually be sent an email to your TCL email letting you know that you have 24 hours to log in and click the register button in your self-service account. So it allows you to be monitoring the course without actually having to log in every day and see if there's seats available. You'll be notified if you are the next person on the wait list. Now, if you decide not to register for that class, or if you don't register for that class during that 24-hour period, you actually lose your spot on the wait list, and then you have to put yourself back on the wait list again. So it's better to make sure that you are checking your TCL email all the time, especially if you're on a wait list. Also, financial aid and other important announcements are sent to your TCL email as well. So it's good to be in a good habit of checking your TCL email pretty regularly. Now also, if a class, let's say a term has already begun and you see that there are seats available in a class. Let's say you've been really trying to get into English 101 and it's been full, but now that the semester's begun, there's actually seats available. You won't be able to register yourself in self-service. What you have to do is you have to send an email to the instructor of that class. I'm going to give an example. Let's say that we have an Ann Smith that teaches an English 101 class. Her email would be the first initial and then her last name at tcl.edu. So her email would be asmith@tcl.edu. It's pretty simple. So you would send that email, and then if you're given permission to add that course late, again, it's up to the instructor based on how much you've missed in that particular semester for that swap and drop period. Now, when the instructor gives you permission, when you log back into self-service, you'll actually see that register button is available to you. So you would just simply log in, click register, and then you would be enrolled in the course officially. So that's how the late registration process works. You wouldn't have to email any other office. You would just email the instructor, and then if given permission, you'll see that in your self-service account. So I do want to explain too a little bit how some of our courses are being offered and how to read your schedule specifically. So we've got 3 different kinds of classes that are being offered. I would say primarily most of our courses are offered online, and then we do have a hybrid option as well. But for the online courses specifically, we have a synchronous, asynchronous online. So there's 2 different online, basically the 2 different types of online courses we have. For a synchronous online class, that means that you are actually required to be logged in on a particular day or time, but you'd be logged in at home on a Zoom session. So an example of this, let's say it's a history class. If you were to log into your self-service account and you were wondering if you were registered for an online class that required you to be logged in at a particular time, underneath the day and time, you would actually have days and times listed there, but under location, it would say online only or internet. So on those days, so let's say it's a Monday, Wednesday, 9 to 11:15 class. On Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 o'clock, you'll need to make sure that you're logged in on the Zoom um, from at home. You don't have to be on campus, you'll be at home. And all of this information would be provided to you in your Blackboard account. So you'll have the link to Zoom, you'd be able to log in that way. But that's the synchronous online course. The asynchronous online course is going to be more of the traditional online course here at TCL. You're not required to log in at any particular time. You don't have to, you're not going to be logged in with your classmates like you would be for a synchronous online course. You would just make sure that weekly you're submitting your work by the deadlines that your instructor has posted for you. So that's going to be the majority of our online courses. I would say most of those the classes that we are offering for the fall, if they are online, that's going to be what they'll actually be taught through. And to see if that's the kind of online course that you're registered for, underneath the date and time section, you actually won't have anything listed there. It'll either be blank or it'll say TBA. So if there's not a date or time listed there, that means that you're basically registered for an online course, just like in the traditional sense. And then of course, location would also say online, internet only. Now the third kind of class that we do offer that we have this fall semester is called a hybrid course. The majority of these courses are going to be under the business and industrial technologies, as well as some health science courses in the major programs. So for a hybrid course, how you're going to read that is under the dates and times you're going to have, again, dates and times, so Monday, Wednesday, 9 to 11:15. But under location, instead of online, you're going to have a building number, a room number, and then it'll say lecture web-based. So what that means is that on certain days, you will be required to come on campus to that building, that room number, but you also will have days where you will be at home logged in. And your instructor is going to give you more information about what days you'll be on campus and which days you'll be at home. So for example, if it's a Monday, Wednesday class, let's say it's a computer course, and let's say in Blackboard, your instructor says you'll be on campus on Monday, but you'll be online on Wednesdays. So on that day and time, on Mondays at 9, you'll be on campus in the building in the room number, but on Wednesdays, you'll be at home logged into Zoom at the same time. So at 9 o'clock Wednesday, you'll be at home on the Zoom session. And that kind of just alleviates the number of students that are on campus, because half of the course will be in class and half of them will be online. So it just allows for a little bit more social distancing, but still being able to have that interaction with students live. Even though you might be at home, you'll still have also that in-person interaction as well. So since Mark is already on this page, this is actually where you can go to find all of the different COVID-19 resources that are available to students. Also some social distancing etiquette and other information that you can access as well. If you are having trouble with internet access, especially if your classes are online, there's links here to different companies that are offering different promotions at this time. There's also other resources for food and financial assistance. So if you have time and you feel like that you would benefit from looking through these resources, if you go to our website and just type in COVID-19 resources, there's a specific link for students. So if you wanted to check that out, I think that's a good thing to do. Another thing that we're getting a lot of questions for this fall semester, we get a lot of questions about the student IDs. At this time, until the college is open to meet with students again, we're actually not going to be issuing any student IDs unless your program specifically requires it. And I'll give an example, like a health science clinical. Now, if you are in one of those health science clinicals, you can email srecords@tcl.edu, and we can figure something out for you to be able to get your student ID. But besides that, most students, if you're taking online courses, you're not required to have a student ID. We typically use them primarily for whenever you come into our offices. So until we're seeing the public, you really are not required to have one. But we will be able to issue those once we do open up to the public again. And then parking passes. We get a lot of questions about parking. Of course, if your classes are online, you won't need to have a parking pass until you have in-class courses in the future. If you do have a hybrid course that requires you to come on campus and you still feel like you want to have a parking pass, you can go to the security office, and that's going to be Building 11 on the Beaufort campus. And they can issue a parking pass. They're not going to be as strict as they have been in the past because there's not a lot of students on campus at this time. But if you feel like you would want one anyway, just for your own safety or whatever you might need it for, you could definitely reach out to them and they can issue you one. And then lastly, just so that you are prepared for your future classes, you can always go to the bookstore's website. I know Marcus showed it a little bit ago, but they can actually, you can have your book shipped to your house. You can also schedule a time for a curbside pickup as well. So just check that out. Like Mark said, you can just put in your different book information and then they can you can get a list of all of your requirements. So you just want to make sure that you are prepared for the semester. You're not getting behind. It's just a good thing to be able to have set in stone and ready to go so that you are ready for your classes to begin. With that, if you have any questions at all, you can email admissions@tcl.edu. If you have any admissions related questions, if you need to submit residency documents, if you still need to submit a high school transcript or anything like that, admissions@tcl.edu. And then you can email me for any registration questions. My email is dconsider@tcl.edu. So it's D and then consider, like the word with 2 Ds, CONSIDDER@tcl.edu. But thank you guys, and we hope that you guys have a wonderful semester, and reach out to us if you have any questions.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck.